open your mind to the way, the conscious way, the way of conscious mindfulness. With me, Sifu Boggie. Sifu means guide, muse, somebody who points you along the way, who guides you on your path. Boggie means the balancer between the chaos and the calmness, and is my healing, my spiritual and my martial art name. And for the last 39 years, I have been studying the Daoist arts. The Dao means the way, the path, the balance. And I have been studying techniques and skills like taichi, Qigong, Theta, Tuina, Chinese massage, reflexology, acupressure, different forms of both Japanese Reiki or Reiki and Shin, which is Chinese Reiki, and many other techniques. And my goal, my aim is to help people help themselves, especially help people with chronic pain, with stress and anxiety, but also life coaches, healers, empaths, help them supercharge themselves and ensure they never burn out. So that's who I am and what I do. What's this show all about? Well, this show is sit down with Sifu on a Saturday. Hello, Saturday. And this one is the way of change. Now, within Daoism, the way, the path, the balance, Daoism is all about that balance, is finding your own personal path, seeking your own personal way to find the path to balance. Now, in the West, balance is normally represented by scales, and we normally see those scales balancing out so they're even, so they're dead center, and for a lot of people balance is almost like a flat line, and it's very sort of, in essence, very still, very stationary. We're in Daoist concepts that would actually be considered as possibly stagnant. But so the difference between the Western version of balance, what balance is, a balanced sort of really sturdy flat level, balance in the East is more like, think of a wave, and the wave goes up and the wave goes down. The bigger the up, the bigger the down. And so the balance is these little waves, is getting those waves smaller and smaller so they become natural little ripples, because within Daoist philosophy there are always up and downs in life, and your goal is to sort of sail them, be like on a sailboat, or in a canoe or a surfboard, and you ride those waves, and riding those waves is actually seeking the balance, is finding that balance. So rather than this more linear flat line, it's about riding those waves as little ripples, so there's little effects. Now, we have, and maybe this might be a podcast for another time as well, but perfection, we talk about perfection, be the best you can be. And we talk about perfection, but in Daoism, perfection is actually an illusion, as it is like trying to reach the top, being the top that you can be. But the bigger the up, the bigger the down. So if you keep, if you keep doing the maximum amount of sit-ups you can do, you'll wear yourself out, you burn yourself out. Rather, the Daoist viewpoint would be to actually, so say the maximum you can do is 50 at first, then you do 10 every single day, and then every day or every week you add 1 or 2, and over a period of time that slowly builds up. And what that does is that it raises your balance, it raises the middle ground. So rather than aiming for the top, you want to make the middle ground your top. What do I mean? So like I say, going back to that 50 sit-ups, is if you think of, the maximum you can do is 50, so you do 10 every single day, and you get used to doing those 10, and then, like say, every week, every couple of weeks, you add another one, and you add another one, and that 10 slowly comes up to 15, which comes up to 20, which comes up to 30, which comes up to 40, which eventually your balance, your middle, what you can do on an average day will be that 50, which means that you could do more than that. So you increase. So by focusing on increasing your middle ground, the balance bar, then you can actually affect, you can actually get to those goals that you want. So what's got this to do with the way of change? Well, within the Daoist concept, everything changes. Everything changes. We start as a child, become a toddler or a baby, and we become a toddler, then become a young child, then we become a teenager, then we become a young adult, then we become an adult, then become an old person, and eventually your demise. And in essence, that everything changes. That is the nature of the universe. Everything changes. But within Daoism, they sort of say, but if you understand how change works, you can find ways around it. So like we just talked about this whole concept of the sit-ups, of that, that you want to get to 50, but rather than trying to, keep pushing for 50 every single day, and do, blast it to 50 right at the beginning, you do it the other way, where you build up to that number. So you do like 10 every day and you build it up to 50, then you find a more even ground. Now, with understanding this with change, that means that you can actually flow with the change. When things change, and that nothing can be a total constant, things flow on this, the wave of balance is a wave of balance. It goes up and it goes down, and it goes up and it goes down. And when you can understand that more, it allows you to reserve more energy. It allows you to flow with that change in a certain way. Another way of sort of expressing this is that it's like and it doesn't have to be drinking, but like I say, you go to a party and you don't drink, but you have a really good party, and you had a really good party. The next day you feel really low. You feel really low because life is change. Life constantly changes. The up creates the down creates the up. So as a Daoist, when you understand this concept that life is change, everything constantly changes, but by understanding how change works, but by the flow of the universe, you can actually harness that flow in a different way. Rather than I'm a little bit particular on certain words. So obviously, I'm not saying control. Control is a very Zen word. It's a very Chan word. Chan, Zen. It's really like the samurai way. We control everything. In Japan, they actually have a river that flows upstream. The water goes up the hill, but because it's got turbines, and they've actually created these turbines to force the water up. But if the turbines break, the water comes back down again. So the Zen way is about controlling things, manipulation, control. You will it. You make it happen. The Daoist way is using the forces of the universe to get what you want. So allowing that to happen. So Boggie tangent. So let's go back to that party. So we know if you have a party, you go for a night out, it's a really, really good night out, but the next day you feel really, a bit down, and, maybe a little bit depressed and a bit tired, because the bigger the up, the bigger the down. So what I was taught to do is I would, go and I would love ice skating. I still do. I don't do it as much, but I still love ice skating. And then what I would do is go ice skating or play ice hockey to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. But then I'd go home And what I would do is I would chill out for a little while. You know, I'd go and watch the stars, I'd go and do a bit of meditation, go and do a bit of Qigong, energizing exercise. And what I'm doing is actually going from that high. I'm actually in myself, I'm actually drawing myself back down to a neutral place. I'm drawing that down to a middle wave. I'm drawing it down into a middle balance. And therefore, when I then go to sleep the next day, I don't get that low because I've already calmed myself down, already brought myself to a middle path. It's a little bit like saying, like, you know, you're getting more and more angry, and someone says, you know, breathe, you know, calm down, breathe, which normally winds people up. But if you can actually manage, as you're getting more and more stressed or angry, if you manage to actually do a bit of Qigong or just simply breathe and get focused on your breathing, you can actually neutralize that wave, you neutralize that high. So in this essence, we're talking about angry, you know, you get higher and higher and you'll explode and then you will go into a massive low. But if you learn to use the essence of the universe, or to control the elements, I prefer use the essence. You use the essence of the universe. You use these skills to rebalance the energy. You can actually sort of redirect change. You can actually know where the flow of change is going. So it's this interesting thing that, like, you know, within, you know, society, you know, like everything changes. Things do change all the time, and you know, when we sort of think, oh, you know, or we sort of try not to change things, or we fight against change, and fighting against change is like trying to desperately grasp onto water. You know, is if you hold that water in your hands, yeah, you can hold it to a degree, but it will start seeping through your fingers. And it's more about learning how to channel it, is learning how to flow it in a certain way. And so we talked about in earlier Sit Down with Sifus, we talked about the Daoist alchemists, and the Daoist alchemists were very much about this channeling energy, about learning how to cultivate energy in a certain way. And Qigong, meditation, Qigong is meditation. It is an energizing exercise. Qigong is also Daoist yoga. It's all of these things interconnected, or especially when you do it in certain ways. The style I teach is very much, it has Qigong, energizing exercise, it has Shengong, Daoist meditation, and it has Neigong, Daoist yoga, all intertwined within them. They're all interlaced. And so it's this idea of harnessing energy, learning how to harness energy. So through daily practice of exercise, of Qigong, of meditation, Shengong, or Qigongs that do all three, the Daoist yoga, the Daoist meditation, and the Daoist energizing exercise. And the techniques I teach of doing 15 minutes minimum over a period of time, that needs to change because of change, but we'll get to that a bit later. But just 15 minutes every single day, and you start to harness your energy. And it's an interesting, watching students who just start off, at first they just come to the classes and do a couple of classes. And, that's great. They get this energy for a while, but it peters away. Because, what goes up comes down, what goes down comes up. So you get this burst of energy through doing the Qigongs, which are energizing exercises, but they're sort of like tapping into the matrix. They tap into the universal energy. They give you this burst of energy, which is what Reiki is supposed to do. And some people it does, some people it doesn't. And when it doesn't, it's because there's certain things missing. And the same with meditation. Meditation is meant to tap you into this energy. Some people it does, and some people it doesn't. And if it doesn't, there's certain things you're missing. And for me, that missing, is this form of Qigong, which is both meditation, both stretching, Daoist yoga, and also this energizing exercise. And the whole idea of tapping into, but you know, you find your own way, your own Tao. But this idea of tapping into a little bit of meditation every single day, a little bit of energizing exercise every single day, a little bit of stretching every single day, or yoga or Daoist yoga, or something that can do all three, that helps you channel energy. It helps you connect to the Tao, plug into the universe, connect to the matrix. And when you do this, because the whole thing of change is that there's a natural evolution within our bodies happening. There's a natural process of things going from vital, from when we're babies, we're full of vitality, full of energy. And as we grow up, that energy winds and wanes, and it goes up and it goes down. But there are certain things that can maintain it. There are certain things that can help that flow of change. It helps channel that change. You know, I like, again, as I say, I don't like using the word control too much, because that's very zen, very is it. And the thing is, with control, yes, you can control stuff, but the more you can control it, the more that if you let go, it all falls apart. When you learn to flow with it, when you learn to harness, like the Daoist way or the water way, when you learn to harness water, and it becomes a momentum, it becomes something that will actually help you increase that flow, and it makes that change work for you. So that whole idea of doing a little bit of daily exercise, doing a little bit of going out and enjoying the outside as well, doing a little bit of having fun every single day, you know, just being playful and just being silly. Don't take yourself or anything else too seriously. These are all things that can help with that change. That change is a natural process of the universe. The universe always changes. But you, as a Daoist, you can get to harness how it changes. You can get to flow how it changes. You can control or manipulate how it changes. But with the Daoist way or the water way, you want to do it in a certain way. You want to do it in a very flow way, a very subtle way. So we do these different little techniques. We do a little bit of Qigong, do a little bit of meditating. Meditation is one of these weird words that we think it means sitting on top of a mountain going Om. Well, that's a meditation, but it's not the only meditation. Sitting watching a tree or watching a lake or just watching the sky and just breathing and just not thinking about stuff, just watching. That's a meditation. Focusing on one thing, forgetting everything else. That's a meditation. Watch a cat, watch a dog, especially those two. But watch most animals, you'll see them just staring into space at some point. They're meditating. And a lot of animals, especially cats and dogs, when they wake up in the morning, you see them stretch. And, you know, they have a stretch. That's their yoga. That's their stretching. And then you'll also see, especially dogs and cats, you'll see them have their mad half hour, whether they're a year old or whether they're 15 years old. You know, you know, even you know, old dogs and cats, every now and again they'll get playful again, and they'll almost be like a pup, or a kitten if they're a cat, and that's their Qigong. So within nature, you'll see play, which is a form of Qigong, energizing exercise. You'll see them do a form of meditation where they're just still, where they seem to be like, you know, just looking out into space. You even see them do their forms of stretching. You see this in the bird kingdom as well. You see them stretch. You'll see them just like sitting there observing, and you'll see them, you know, either, you know, birds love diving and moving around and flying around, and that's their form of Qigong. They're generating energy. And this is the whole thing of this. With change, if you don't know how to harness it, change will happen to you. If you know how to harness it, change will happen with you. you will be part of that change. You can actually help generate some of that change. You can help govern what change there is within your life and around you. And again, it's like change is a very, very interesting thing. A lot of people are scared of change. A lot of people, change is the void. It's the unknown. They're scared of the unknown. But the whole fact is that because things naturally change, then the unknown is known. It's something that happens, and when you can embrace it, you can grow from this, you can flow from this. Now, within Daoism, there's a saying called beginner's mind. And beginner's mind is pretty much that. It is learning how to be inquisitive. Like, beginner's mind comes from the sacred child. And the sacred child energy is, the child is looking at everything in awe. Oh, this is all amazing. Oh, wow, look at all these things. There's always something new to learn. Now, within the West, or within unbalanced energy, is that we have people who think they're like the master, or I know it all. Everything is known. I know it all, and that is an issue, because when you say that you know it all, you're actually closing off your opportunities, you're closing off your abilities. The universe is so vast, how could we ever know it all? In our small lifespans, but even if you could live thousands of years, the universe is still so vast, how could you know it all? And unless you open up to the all, unless you become the all, you become that omnipresence. You allow yourself just to be. You see no boundaries. So the whole idea of change is that, yes, change is a constant thing. Even a mountain changes. It's just it changes in a way that most people don't recognize or see. From the very, very small to the absolutely huge, everything changes at its own speed and its own pace. That is the thing of the universe. So this beginner's mind is allowing yourself to know there's always more to learn. There's always more you can grow from. So rather than sort of going, oh, yes, I know this, the beginner's mind in Daoism is very much about seeing it from a different viewpoint, even to the point where like you say, like, you say like there's 100 levels to your Qigong, just say, and you go all the way up to 100. When you get to 100, the first thing that the Sifu would say is go back to the beginning, and go back to the beginning and learn again from a different perspective. So you've learned this, but what have you missed? Or like a film, watching a film 5 or 6 times, but each time don't focus on what you know, focus on what you don't know. Look around for the the other things. Like if you're seeing like a video and there's a person talking, yes, the person's talking, that's one thing, but what else is happening around them? There's always more information. What other things can you see? And very much with the cloud whispers in Taoism, is that they, like the beginner's mind, like the child, they are always looking for more information. They'll look for the smallest details. They'll look for the smallest things. So it's understanding that change is more relevant than you think. It's that is allowing yourself to change, and being aware that you change is actually a strength. Is that when, there's an interesting thing in society, I hear, like certain people say to certain other people, oh, you've changed. And the person goes, no, I haven't, And it's like, oh, yes, you have. Because you change every day. Every day your cells, and this is the thing, people say, oh, you change, but you're getting older. Well, actually, your cells are renewing over different periods of time. That all your cells actually renew, so they don't get old, they change. They actually literally change. So, the cells in your body change, your bones change, your skin changes. Everything is changing. Everything, that is a constant. This idea of change is a constant. But when you can accept that things change, and you can use that to your advantage, you can flow with that change, that allows you to grow, that allows you to expand your consciousness. And that's the whole idea, is that the idea of the beginner's mind is that there's always more to know. There's always more to grow. So there's always more change. There's always more things that can help you change and help you experience more stuff. The old saying in Japan, they talk about the cup. There's do not let your cup be full. Always have an empty cup. And that empty cup is allowing them more space to absorb more information. So always come from that beginner's mind allows you to grow and experience more information, more knowledge, allowing more things to happen. So, a little bit personal, sort of like personal information now, is like quite recently, my papa, he passed away. And from a long battle. He originally had cancer back in 2002, and he had throat cancer, and a lot of people don't last longer than 5 years with throat cancer. And he actually went well past 15 years, to the point that when the doctors saw him, they actually said, you've lasted this long. We were surprised you've lasted this long, to be honest, Mr. Breton. And it's this idea of not allowing, is that if you get told, oh, you have this, that's very much set, saying you have this illness. And if you see that illness, you register yourself as that illness, I have cancer, you're setting yourself in a certain way. You're actually restricting yourself in a certain way. But if you can sort of see beyond that and go, it is what it is. I can flow past it. I can be more than this. I can change. I can change this outcome. You can actually allow things to happen. Now, I'm sort of coming from this from a different angle, or say it in a different way, but there's a lot of case studies I've seen using either Qigong or meditation. There was back in America, back in the 70s, where children who had terminal illness focused on Star Wars, Star Wars and Daoism have a big connection too, but we'll talk about that another time. So they focused on Star Wars, and they saw they saw the cancer cells as Darth Vader, as the Sith, and their immune system as the Jedi. And the Jedi, they saw the Jedi fighting the Sith, and they won the battle. So they changed their outcome. Is that their body, they were given a certain viewpoint, a certain thing, and they changed that outcome. So, change is a positive and a negative. It just is what it is. But you can change many things when you think about them in different ways. Is that whatever you're told, you can change it. If you want to change it, you can change it. And if something's happening to you and you want to change it in a different way, you can do that as well. Everything is about change. Everything is about flowing with change. When you use the concept that everything changes to your advantage, you can grow and flow in much better ways, in stronger ways. That is the way of the universe. That is the way of the Tao. The Tao of now. The Shun of the Tao. The flowing is changing. So Shun means flowing or folding, and Dao means the way. So it's the flowing way. You can create Shun Dao. You can create the flowing way. You can use change to your advantage. That is part of what Shun Dao can mean. So Shun Dao, the flowing way. Now, surprise, surprise, I could go on for longer about this topic. And if you want me to, if you've got any questions on change, then why not message me? You can find me on Instagram under Sifu Boggie. You can find me on Facebook under The Way of Conscious Mindfulness. Just think of the podcast name. You can find me on YouTube under Sifu Boggie. You can find me on, I'm trying to think of what else, on Linktree under Sifu Boggie. And if you want to learn Qigong or meditation or Reiki or the the Chinese Reiki, Shun Qi Shen, you can find them on Patreon, on my Shun Dao School Patreon, but under www.patreonsifuboggie.com. So that's different ways you can find me. And like I say, if you have a question, why not message me, and I might actually get you on here and you can ask it directly, and interact, because I like interactions. These are quite cool, but when they interact, they tend to be longer as well. So, come and message me and come and have a chat, and we can do the podcast together. It can be our podcast. So that's it for now. Like I say, look up. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me. I'm even on Clubhouse now as well. But if you'd like to learn, look on Patreon. And you'll find me there. I'm also on Discord, and all these links will be down below, whether this is on YouTube or whether this is on the awesome, amazing Bring Me to Life, and on their audio. You'll find all the links on there. So that's it for now. Take care. Love, Chi, and Chen. From me, Sifu Boggie. But remember, open your mind to the way, the conscious way, the way of conscious mindfulness.